The first n digits correspond to the variables, so the next m digits correspond to the clauses. So digit n plus j is going to correspond to clause cj. If the literal xi appears in the clause cj, well, xi, this literal, corresponds to this number vi. So we're going to put a 1 in digit n plus j for this number vi. Similarly, if the literal xi bar appears in this clause, well, in this case, this literal xi bar corresponds to this number vi prime. So we put a 1 in digit n plus j for this number vi prime. What this does is it encodes the clauses in these numbers, vi and vi prime. Let's go back to our running example. Our first clause contains x1 bar, x2 bar, and x3 bar. This clause corresponds to the fourth digit, so we're going to put a 1 in v1 prime. We put a 1 in v2 prime, and a 1 in v3 prime. Similarly, for the second clause, we put a 1 in v1 prime for x1 bar, v2 prime, and v3. For clause 3, we put a 1 in v1, v2 prime, and v3. Clause 4, v1, and v2. Now for the first clause, we want to ensure that either v1 prime, v2 prime, or v3 prime are included in the subset in the solution to the subset sum problem. We just need that at least one of these is included. We don't need that exactly one, so we can't just put a 1 here in t. We want that either 1, 2, or 3 of these numbers are included in the solution. So we put a 3 in the fourth digit of t, fifth digit, sixth digit, and seventh digit. Now if we include all 3 of these numbers in our solution, then we're okay. But what if we only include one of these digits? What if only one of these literals is satisfied? Well, that's where we use these buffer numbers, s1 and s1 prime. We're going to put a 1 in the fourth digit for these two numbers. The point is that if only one of these 3 literals is satisfied, then we get up to sum of a 3 by including both of these buffer numbers. So we get a 1 from one of these 3, plus 1, and that gives us 3. What if all 3 of these literals are satisfied? Then we don't have to use either of these buffer numbers. What if exactly 2 of these literals are satisfied? Then we use one or the other of these buffer numbers. But if none of these literals are satisfied, then using both of the buffer numbers only gets us up to a sum of 2, so we can't satisfy t. We can't get a solution to the subset sum problem. The only way to get a solution to the subset sum problem is to have at least one of these literals satisfied, and then we can use the buffer numbers to get the desired sum in this digit. So similarly, for clause 2, we put a 1 in this digit for s2 and s2 prime, s3, s3 prime, s4, and s4 prime. All the other numbers have zeros in these digits. This specifies the reduction from the 3-stat formula to the subset sum problem. Note that v1 is the number 1,011,011. v1 prime is the number 1,001,100. s4 and s4 prime are the numbers 1. T is the number 1,113,333.